Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please hit the subscribe. Now this start video. While Chicago Fire remains NBC's top-rated drama, its performance in Season 13 tells a more complex story. Despite its high viewership numbers, the show is not thriving as much as its ratings might suggest. When Chicago Fire first premiered in 2012, it brought something new to the table. A gritty and realistic portrayal of the lives of firefighters and paramedics. This fresh perspective helped the show carve out its niche in the competitive landscape of primetime television, setting off a wave of similar series like CBS's Fire Country. However, despite its long-standing popularity, Chicago Fire is facing significant challenges in Season 13, which may indicate that the series' golden years are behind it. One of the biggest shifts for the series came with the departure of Fire Chief Wallace Bowden. Portrayed by Eamon Walker, Bowden had been a central figure since the very first episode, guiding the crew of Firehouse 51 with a steady hand and a deep sense of loyalty to his team. His exit at the beginning of Season 13 marked the most substantial cast change in the show's history and left an undeniable void. In Bowden's place, Chicago Fire introduced a new character, Chief Dom Pascal, played by Dermot Mulroney. Pascal's approach to leadership is far more stringent than Bowden's, with an emphasis on running a tighter ship and enforcing discipline at all costs. This shift has caused tension among the firefighters, particularly between Pascal and two of the series' central characters, Kelly Severide, Taylor Kinney, and Stella Kidd, Miranda Ray Mayo. The strained dynamics have led to frequent clashes, adding a new layer of conflict to the Firehouse's already intense environment. Beyond the departure of Bowden, Chicago Fire Season 13 has seen other key changes in its cast. For instance, a major storyline this season involves firefighter Damon, Michael Bradway, who was transferred out of Firehouse 51 after repeatedly refusing to follow orders at fire scenes. The series also introduced a new conflict for fan-favorite Cruz, Joe Manioso, whose career is at risk after being blackmailed into participating in a robbery gone wrong at the firehouse. While these new plotlines are intended to shake things up, they have failed to fully capture the audience's attention in the way earlier, simpler storylines did. Despite these internal struggles, Chicago Fire remains NBC's top-rated scripted series, and the numbers show that it still holds a dominant position. According to TV Line, the series draws an impressive 4.8 million viewers per episode, making it the #2 program on NBC, just behind Sunday Night Football. Furthermore, Chicago Fire ranks as the 4th most-watched show on all of broadcast television, underscoring its strong standing even as it faces challenges. The success of Chicago Fire is further highlighted by the performance of its fellow One Chicago series. Chicago Med and Chicago PD follow closely behind Chicago Fire in the ratings, making the One Chicago franchise a powerhouse for NBC. It is especially noteworthy that Chicago Fire continues to perform strongly despite its decade-long run and the multiple cast changes that might have derailed a lesser show. This longevity speaks to the show's solid fan base and its ability to adapt over time. However, the Chicago Fire has not been immune to the broader trends affecting network television. Season 13 saw an 8% drop in viewership compared to Season 12. While this decline is not as severe as what some other NBC shows have experienced, it's still a concerning trend for a series that has consistently been the crown jewel of the One Chicago franchise. If this downward trajectory continues, Chicago Fire could face significant pressure from rival shows like Chicago Med, which has been closing the ratings gap. The loss of viewers may partly be attributed to the departure of Fire Chief Wallace Bowden, whose presence had been a key element of the show's success for over a decade. His exit created a palpable shift in the show's tone and dynamics, and while some viewers may have tuned in to see how his replacement, Chief Pascal, would fare, many others might have found the change less compelling than expected. Another factor influencing Chicago Fire's declining viewership is the lingering impact of the 2023 writers and actors strikes. While the strikes affected the entire television industry, they hit network television especially hard, as many shows saw delays in production and the airing of new episodes. This disruption had a noticeable impact on the audience for several NBC series, Chicago Fire included. With viewers already uncertain due to production delays, the introduction of a new cast member in a pivotal role may have further alienated fans who were attached to the show's original characters. To address these concerns and avoid a further decline in viewership, Chicago Fire needs to return to its roots. When the show first began, it was lauded for its realistic depiction of the dangerous and unpredictable lives of first responders. The firehouse was a setting for intense, life-threatening situations, and the show did not shy away from portraying the emotional toll that the job takes on its characters. Over time, however, the personal dramas of the characters have begun to overshadow the real-life heroism and peril that made the series so compelling in the first place. While it's understandable that, after 13 seasons, a series would focus more on character-driven storylines, the balance between personal drama and the emergency rescue situations has shifted too far toward the soap opera side of things. The recent storyline involving Cruz and the robbery is a perfect example of a plotline that, while intriguing, feels more melodramatic than grounded in the kind of reality that made the series stand out in the early years. The show's focus should return to its roots, emphasizing the life-or-death situations that firefighters and paramedics face every day. Chicago Fire was originally successful because of its unflinching portrayal of the risks and rewards of the job. Going forward, the show should aim to make the firehouse itself a more integral part of the drama. Chief Pascal's push for reform provides an excellent opportunity to explore the dynamics of firehouse politics in greater depth. By weaving in both the tensions between the characters and the high-stakes nature of their work, Chicago Fire can recapture what made it great. Ultimately, while the Chicago Fire may be facing some tough challenges, it's far from being on the brink of cancellation. With its strong ratings and loyal fan base, the show will likely be renewed for a 14th season. However, in order to maintain its position as NBC's flagship scripted drama, Chicago Fire must evolve, returning to its roots, focusing more on the dramatic and dangerous world of firefighting, and finding a way to balance its personal and professional storylines will be key to ensuring the series remains a staple of television for years to come. Only by making these changes can Chicago Fire rekindle the magic that made it a hit in the first place. A key area where Chicago Fire can reinvigorate its storytelling is by diving deeper into the dynamics of Firehouse 51 itself. With the arrival of Chief Dom Pascal, the opportunity to explore the intricacies of leadership within the firehouse is vast. Chief Pascal's leadership style is not just a minor detail, but a central plot driver in Season 13. His attempts to impose a more rigid structure at Firehouse 51 create tension among the team, and these conflicts have the potential to generate compelling storylines. The introduction of Pascal has already led to friction with long-standing characters like Severide and Kid, both of whom are used to a more laid-back and collaborative approach under Bowden's tenure. This dynamic could serve as a powerful storytelling tool by tapping into the complexities of leadership, authority, and trust within a high-stress environment like a firehouse. Exploring how the firefighters adapt to Pascal's strict methods or potentially rebel against them could offer a more grounded and tension-filled approach to the series moving forward. Moreover, such a shift could give Chicago Fire a chance to return to the sense of camaraderie and team building that made the show so special in its earlier years. The emotional bonds between characters, especially those forged under extreme pressure during rescue operations, were one of the strongest aspects of the series. By focusing more on how the characters interact under Pascal's leadership and within the context of dangerous fire scenes, the show can restore a sense of urgency and realism that has felt missing in recent seasons. Another way Chicago Fire can reclaim its edge is by refocusing on the life-or-death rescue missions that were central to the series' original appeal. While personal stories are a natural part of any long-running show, Chicago Fire first gained its popularity by balancing gripping rescue operations with emotional character arcs. In its early years, the show was unafraid to depict the harsh realities of firefighting, including the loss of life or the toll such a demanding profession takes on first responders. This commitment to realism set it apart from other procedural dramas. Season 13, however, has seen a shift toward more sensationalized storylines, such as Cruz's involvement in a robbery and subsequent blackmail. While these plots are engaging on a certain level, they run the risk of overshadowing the core aspect of the show, fighting fires and saving lives. By reintroducing more intense, high-stakes rescue situations, Chicago Fire can bring back the gritty and realistic tone that initially won over its audience.